The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. God knew something about human beings way back then, given to Moses in prehistory almost, that has turned out to be true. That if human beings are united and we're able to communicate with each other and we work on something together, we can accomplish basically anything. There's almost nothing we plan to do that is impossible for human beings. You would think this is a good thing, right? Isn't that a good thing that human beings can do almost anything? No, not if what we're trying to do is evil. This is the point. To God, what God is saying in this moment is this is terrible. These human beings have the ability to accomplish almost anything, but they are focused on evil. They are being led by the rebel. They are going to destroy each other in dramatic ways that they haven't even imagined yet. They are in incredible danger. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. This is why it was called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. I'm not going to spend too much time focusing on the very facts here, right? What it says is that God changed their languages so that they could not communicate with each other. And that therefore he also sort of drove them out so that some of them went very far away from where they originally had been. This is the Bible's explanation for the way the world is today, or the way it has been in the past anyway. But the point I want to focus in on is this: God disciplines us in his mercy. And this is a hugely practical point for our lives. So many times in your life, you've had something happen and you said, why did God allow that to happen? That was horrible. That was so hard. It seems like this thing, I just can't fix it no matter what. Why won't God? What do you think these people in the city of Uruk or Babel said when God destroyed their city and destroyed their tower? When their whole government, their whole civilization collapsed and separated. God hates us. God's against us. God's our enemy. He's not a God of love. He's like the worst. And yet, God was doing this in his mercy. He allowed that thing to come. Actually, he sent that confusion and destruction into their lives so that something worse didn't happen. This is a picture of a little blonde boy lighting a fire. When I was 5 years old, I went out with my best friend into the woods behind his house, and we knew that if we worked on it together, we could light a fire. And that would be so awesome. We would prove just how manly, what mighty men we were if we could light this fire on our own without any grown-ups. And we did it. We lit a fire. And when my friend's mom saw the smoke, she came running out at full speed, and she destroyed our fire. She absolutely annihilated it. She threw water on it. She tossed pieces of it different directions so that it would go out. She kicked dirt on it, and then she punished us. She was evil and hated us. She was the one mom in the world that didn't love her children. She disciplined us in her mercy because we had no idea what we were starting. That's Babel. That's what happened in Babel. The human beings had no idea where this was going to go. From our vantage point in history, now having seen some of the stuff that happened in the 20th century, we can imagine some of the places Babel would have gone. Horrific things, even almost unspeakable things. But God separates them. He scatters them so that it doesn't happen.